Here we go! Tonight is the night we have all been waiting for. Or depending on how you look at it, tonight is the night we have all been waiting to get through so everything can return to normal. Either way you look at it though, there's only one thing for certain. The election probably not going to be determined tonight because there's still a handful of states who have suddenly lost their ability to count. There's a handful of states who admitted before the first vote was even cast, we're going to have some trouble counting all these votes. This could take days, maybe even weeks. Weeks? In the year of our Lord 2024, how in the hell can we have states in the richest country in the world, the most technologically advanced country in the world? How in the hell can we have states that don't know how to count votes? Strange, isn't it? I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen tonight. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win this election. But before we get into all that, let me get one thing out of the way first. No matter what happens tonight, we are going to be fine. Whether Donald Trump wins or, God forbid, cackling Cam Harris wins, either way, we are going to be fine. The president really has very little control over what happens in your day-to-day life. The decisions that you make in your house, they are far more impactful than the decisions that are made in the White House. Like I told you guys the other day, I have made more money under the complete lack of leadership of our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, than I have made under any other president. Now, what did Johnny B. Biden do to help me make more money? Not a damn thing. Matter of fact, I have yet to meet the politician that has made my life better. Now, can the president make small changes, incremental changes to make my day-to-day life better? Lowering the price of eggs or knocking down the price of gas $1 a gallon? Sure. But whether the Trumper wins or cackling Cam Harris wins, I am still going to wake up tomorrow morning with the same mentality that I woke up with this morning. Every election cycle, the mainstream media hypes it up to be the most important election of our lifetime. Freedom is at stake. Democracy is under attack. We must preserve our right to change genders. When we wake up tomorrow morning, you know what's going to be more important than this election? The next one. It is the same cycle every time, rinse and repeat. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends over at Trump Trends. Trump Trends just released an exclusive collector's edition of gold boots and sneakers. Now, these gold-plated shoes, they are made with premium Italian-grade leather, and they are handcrafted right here in America. There's only 1,000 pair of these limited edition boots and shoes available. These would make the perfect gift for the collector and your family. With Christmas right around the corner, you can give them a rare piece of history by making them one of the very few people that own a pair of limited edition Trump footwear. Since these are handcrafted with strong American hands, takes time for them to be prepped and shipped. If you want these to arrive by Christmas, they need to be ordered today. So I'm sure you voted for the Trumper today. Purchase these limited edition shoes at the same time. Trump Trends is your one-stop shop for everything Donald Trump. And the best part is, when you purchase something from Trump Trends, a portion of your purchase, it is donated to the campaign of the Trumper. Join over 30,000 satisfied customers by clicking the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10, BTL10. Save 10% off your first purchase with Trump Trends. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen tonight. I don't have any hard evidence. I don't have inside information. I'm not basing my opinion off of a certain poll. I'm just telling you what I think based on the last few months that I have been following both of these campaigns. I'm telling you what I feel, which should cause deacons at Woke United Methodist to immediately catch a boner since, the deacons love to talk about feelings. Feelings, nothing more than feelings. This election feels different than both 2016 and 2020. During both of those elections, the mainstream media, they were predicting victory for the party with a strong affinity for the donkey. I remember back in 2016, the media was essentially guaranteeing a Trump loss. Pretty much the same in 2020. To be honest with you, I wasn't all that surprised when the Trumper lost in 2020. Why? By the time we got to November of 2020, people were exhausted. We had been dealing with the COVID since March. If you're a sports fan, you were watching games in the NFL and NBA or college football and college basketball where games were being played in empty stadiums and arenas. Now, obviously, that had minimal impact on the WNBA since they have always played games in empty high school gyms. But the lack of crowds in football and basketball, it made watching the games feel different. Back in 2020, people living in woke cities and states, they had been locked down for months. During the summer, there were riots in major cities, or as the mainstream media preferred to call it, it was the summer of woke love. 2020 was the summer of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It was the summer when deacons at Woke United Methodist, along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media, scared you into silence. If you were a Trump supporter back then, you were automatically convicted of mythical racism. If you didn't support the leader of the cackling choir as pretend vice president, or you questioned how someone who was completely unqualified was able to land that job based on race and gender, if you had the audacity to ask those questions, you were labeled a misogynist. At the same time, Johnny B. Biden, he was laying the foundation of his campaign as the guy who could return us to normal. Build back better. Triple B, that's me, Johnny B. I know about building back better. B is my middle name. By the time we got to November, people just wanted change. People wanted to go back to normal. They didn't care who got us there. They didn't care that they were electing the king of incompetence along with the queen, who might be the most incompetent politician of this generation. People did not care. They just wanted everything to go away and they wanted to return to their normal lives, where they didn't have to remember their mask when they were leaving the house, where they didn't have to worry about taking the blindfold to the Christmas parade so little Timmy doesn't see the dangling cucumbers from the bearded women riding the horses. Even though it wasn't necessarily his fault, the Trumper was associated back then with all the misery. People were willing to vote for just about anyone as long as they were promising to end it. During the election of 2020, people were dealing with 7 months of exhaustion. They were dealing with 7 months of frustration. It was the perfect storm for an incumbent president to lose. 7 months! Heading into the current election, people have been dealing with 3 years of frustration, 3 years of struggling, 3 years living paycheck to paycheck. Combine that with the fact that the Democrats were completely unorganized during this campaign. The Democrats selected one of the most unlikable candidates, who then selected one of the most unlikable vice presidents. And you've got the perfect recipe for a Trump win. Not only do I think the Trumper easily wins this election, I think it's got the potential to be a landslide. I don't remember seeing this level of support for the Trumper in 2016 and 2020. Back then, public figures, they were afraid to be associated with him. Now, they don't give a single fuck. Just look at how many celebrities, look at how many athletes have publicly endorsed the Trumper. Have you noticed that the mainstream media hasn't really made this campaign about race and gender? Did you notice that? Initially, they tried, but those accusations, they quickly disappeared. Why? Because people are no longer willing to bite into that shit sandwich. To be honest with you, I don't think the results of this election has very much to do with either of these candidates. I don't think people are necessarily voting for the Trumper. I don't even think they are voting against Cam Harris. When they cast their votes for Trump, I think most people are voting against the current system. This election, it is an indictment on woke politics. You can call it woke politics, you can call it socialism, communism, the fungus, call it whatever the hell you want. They keep coming up with new terminology for it, hoping it will fool people. But whatever you want to call it, people are voting against it. And look, I'm not the only one that feels this way. Van Jones, my good friend Evander, lifelong Democrat, he has been worried about Cam's chances for months now. Last night, Evander was on CNN, and he was once again expressing his concerns about Cam in Pennsylvania. Watch it for yourself.
Philly overall has been trending down, not in terms of going toward the Republicans, just people not getting out to vote. And so you got people out there like Pastor Carl Day, who's got a bunch of young men with him, knocking on doors, trying to get people to come out. It's a bigger, tougher fight in Philly to get that vote count up than it has been in the past. That has me worried. The other thing that has me worried is that the Jewish vote in the suburban areas, Biden won the Jewish vote by 70%, 70-30 last time. Some polls show Kamala at 50-50. That is 70,000 votes we've bled away. That is the margin for victory.
If you have been following this channel since the summer, you know I could sit here and show you dozens of clips just like that. Dozens of clips of the mainstream media panicking about Cam Harris. I don't remember the media being like this in 2016 or 2020. I was surprised when the Trumper won in 2016, had a lot of doubts going into 2020, but this time it just feels different. This time it seems like everyone is united. Black voters, white voters, Hispanic voters, male voters, female voters. It doesn't matter. Seems like everyone is fed up with the current state of the country. 4 years under Trump, no wars. 4 years under Trump, affordable groceries, affordable utilities, affordable gas. 4 years under Cam Harris, everything is out of control. Money is the great unifier. Money has this weird way of turning enemies into friends. When it feels like everything has increased by 50%, because it probably has, when it feels like life has been miserable for 3 years, it doesn't matter who is running against the incumbent. People just want things to go back to the way they were. 7 months of frustration was enough to get Johnny B. Biden elected. 7 months of misery, that's all it took. Will 3 years of increased frustration and increased misery, will that be enough to get the Trumper back into the White House? You tell me. I think it will. I have never been as confident going into an election as I am with this one. Do you think this has the potential to be a landslide? Are you confident in a Trump win? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.